Hello, welcome to the next Lukozer retro game review video. Well, at the end of the last one, which was a great racing game, I did say that the next one was going to be a racing game that is not great, and I wasn't fucking joking. So this is Crazy Cars, which was released by Titus in '87, I think. I just listen to that shit. I mean, it is a pretty dreadful attempt at some sort of like rock music on the Amiga. It's all been sampled. More specifically, it's rock music played by someone whose guitar is horrendously out of tune. Oh, fucking hell. Motor edit ain't, yeah. Alright, let's get rid of that shite. My fag's gone out. So, yes. There's not really much I can say about this one other than it is a racing game, and it may be from the early days of the Amiga, but that really does not excuse what you are about to see. So yeah, you have there are 4 cars that you can drive. You start off in the Mercedes SE, and they'll have the stats revealed here on this starting page, and obviously each car is more powerful and faster and more impressive than the previous one, sort of. So right, well, let's load the first level then. I mean, I suppose the graphics on the car on that static image there were okay. Those garish bloody copper bars, actually I'm not even sure if they were copper bars behind them, just did not look right. So here we are then, first level, Challenge Florida. Fire at the start. Alright, here we go. So you start straight away as soon as you press the fire button. Now your cars have no gears, it's all automatic whether you want to or not, and well, let's start with the obvious. The graphics on either side of the car are fucking horrible. They are just a sea of green and blue fucking pixels, completely random. These corners here, these fast sweeping corners that I was going through, I didn't have to turn the car at once to get through it. The car handles like a fucking oil tanker. In fact, there are oil tankers out there that can corner better than any of the cars in this game. The engine sound is as rough as fuck only knows what, but the only sound that is relatively okay is the tyre squeal. It does sound like squealing tyres as we pass the finish line and complete this first level. Now, you briefly saw there one of the most ludicrous things about this game, but when it happens actually for real while playing it, I'll cover that a bit more. The other thing that it's how it looks to me anyway, as we go on to the next level, which is New York. Alright, off we go. What a difference. Now the side graphics are just this fucking horrible wash of grey, orange and pink. Look at the way the car jumps up as you go over. It looks shit. So I hit the side, even though there's nothing actually on the side of the road to hit. you slow down because you went off the road. Now I thought I was going to hit the back of that car, but no. So more of these sort of S's that we're going through. So let's hit the back of this car here, this Lamborghini, and you jump up in the air. And then another car that you pass drives past you, and you jump up in the air again. That's it. Your car never gets damaged. If you hit another car, you just jump up like that. What a fucking load of shite. And also, I don't know if it's me, but when the car is turning, at full turn, and you look at the, you can just see a bit of the front of the car as it's turning. I can't see the wheels of at the front. Maybe they're there, but the perspective is really iffy. And to me, it looks like what you're actually driving is some other car that's had like a body kit put over it to look like a Mercedes. And the car you're actually driving is a Reliant Robin. That's how it looks to me. Anyway, so here we go. The Challenger space shuttle. So I think we're around Cape Canaveral or whatever. So here we go. You can see the space shuttle on the launch pad. But I mean, it's just the same thing over and over again. The tracks don't really get that much more difficult. The number of cars on the road don't really increase all that much. So basically you're just sitting here driving this, or trying to drive this car that steers like an oil tanker through tracks that are surrounded by fucking horrible mixtures of different coloured pixels and some slight variation on the background graphics. But oh fucking hell, this is one of the most boring and bland racing games I've ever played. And to my eternal shame, I did have this back in the day, but I already knew how shit it was, so I certainly didn't go out and buy this, straight off the bat. It was in a compilation that I bought, a compilation that made no sense because it had 4 games in it. This was one. Another was Arkanoid 2. The other was Captain Blood, and I can't remember what the 4th game was, but all 4 of them, the games had nothing in common. There was no connection. They were all released by different publishers. So what the fucking hell, they were thinking when they put that compilation together, I will never know. So I can't remember what the 4th game was. It might have some tenuous connection with the rest of them, but I highly doubt it. So right, on to Mountain Challenge. Fuck, I can't believe I'm playing fucking crazy cars for this long. I mean, okay, at least this time the fuck off. The background, or not background, the graphics on the side of the car, they're not quite so garish. It's all yellow and then various hints of green. I mean, alright, they still look a fucking mess. It is just random pixels thrown about all over the place. But at least now they're not just totally random colours. These ones do sort of blend in together. So, well, let's get the review underway. Graphics are shit. The audio is shit, not least that fucking horrendous intro music at the start. And the gameplay is both shit and boring. The car's difficult to control, but I mean, it's just so simple. You're just sitting there, pushing forward and turning left and right, and that's it. You know, I haven't played this game, well, apart from the one warm-up go I had prior to doing this video. I hadn't played this game in 30 years. And yet I'm just breezing through the fucking levels. It's ridiculously easy. Alright, I want the fucking Arizona. Alright, here we go. Oh, what a surprise. It's no fucking different. And we're back to the fucking horribly garish graphics on the roadside. Oh, come on, the Amiga was capable of doing much better than this. Even in 87, it may have been still, you know, quite early on in the Amiga's life, but it could still do much better racing games than this, for fuck's sake. But the most ridiculous thing of all about this game is that back in the day, I've mentioned him a few times, a school friend of mine who originally had an Atari ST, and then a couple of years later he got rid of it and got an Amiga. He thought this game was fantastic. I'm not making this up, this is absolutely fucking genuine. He thought this game was fucking great. And everything about it he thought was good. He liked the way the game played, he really liked playing it. He thought the audio was great. He thought that shit fucking music, he thought that was fantastic. What a fucking prick. So there's him thinking this is great. How many fucking tracks have I got to do before I get the next car? Fuck's sake. Well, let's try this one, but if it doesn't change then, you know. I can't even remember what the other cars are. I think it's these other cars that we're seeing. So that's either a Ferrari or something, and then there's a Lamborghini. I think maybe the other one is a Porsche 911. But when you're driving whatever car, all the other cars on the road suddenly change. You notice I've seen like Lamborghinis and Ferraris and Porsches on the road. When you get, let's say we get into the Porsche next, suddenly you never see another Porsche on the road, but amazingly you start seeing these Mercs on here. So as you would imagine, my Mercedes here is just breezing past Lamborghinis and Ferraris and Porsche 911s as if they weren't there, because, you know, this Mercedes could easily outperform those. Fuck, what a fucking pile of shit. So this fucking septic minge of a game it just has no redeeming qualities at all. And yet, this is actually one of the better versions of this game. Well, it looks like I'm finally changing car. So there we go, so we're into the Porsche 911 Turbo. Maximum speed actually isn't that much faster than the car I was in. Right, okay, let's see what this is like. So I think you now race the same bloody tracks that we were in before, but in a different car. Yep. Right, so, right, this is definitely the last fucking track we do. You can hear the engine sound is no different, the handling is no different, and, oh look, it's amazing that we've now got a Mercedes on the track as one of the other cars. So, I mean, you know, there you go, I've changed car and it's done absolutely fuck all, except we're now looking at the arse end of a blue Porsche 911 rather than a black Mercedes. So what do I score this game? I mean, it does not have any redeeming features at all. In fact, it really does have absolutely fuck all on offer here. So I score this game 0. It's just absolute fucking shite from start to finish. And it is well reputed as being a shit game, and it is a reputation that it thoroughly deserves. I've played better games on a fucking Spectrum or BBC Micro than this, and this is a fucking Amiga. So there you go. Crazy cars then from Titus. Titus actually are a bit like Durell or Domark were on the Commodore 64. As soon as you see the name Titus, you know the game is going to be a fucking pile of shit. And this is no exception. So, yeah, Crazy Cars, 0 out of 10. What a fucking load of bollocks. That mercifully brings this review to an end, and we'll see you at the next one.